For a more advanced take on adding some other features to a display such as a kitchen model in Google SketchUp, in this video, I will show you how to add crown molding to your cabinetry and also inputting this window in your drawing as well. As you can see here, this is our same kitchen model where we have some materials started on one side. I have also decided to pull in a few more components such as our oven range and also a refrigerator as well. If I wanted to create a crown molding on the top of my cabinetry, I would do so as such. Positioning my drawing around, obviously, so that it is viewable to me, the designer. I'm just going to tilt this forward just a little bit. If you have particular measurements, you can use them as well. But I'm going to just create a rectangle along the top of my upper cabinets. And I'm going to choose to snap it here. And at this time, I'm going to use my push-pull command to now pull up this space. Positioning my screen around for a good and a better view. I want to make sure that I am not on my exterior wall group. I am really just in that rectangle that I created. Selecting my measurements, let's say we want to bring it up about 2 inches. I have now began to add a crown molding. If I want to add a fine detail to my crown molding, I will just draw directly on this surface as such. There was a nice crown molding that I saw before and I want to try to duplicate it here. So scrolling into my drawing, I'm just going to use some of these drawing tools that I know, making arcs or freehanding it, but I'm going to use an arc to do what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm going to connect my arc. And create another one. And then I'm going to do the same on this end. From here, I now have a design that I am satisfied with. I can now see that these lines have separated and gave me a few different faces. So going into my push-pull command, I'm just going to simply push a space back to create a design that I am satisfied with. Rotating my drawing around, scrolling out, I have now created a crown molding for my cabinets in a design that I chose to use. You can go back through and either push this all the way back, or at this time you can simply delete one of the lines and the entire face will disappear. So again, remember, when we are deleting a line, one of the lines that is connecting and closing the group, the face disappears because we need to have at least 3 lines to create a face. Again, selecting this top line and pressing delete. And then from here, I can go into my model of my paint bucket and I can either choose to stay with the same wood as my crown molding up top, or I can choose to have a different molding. And now I have a crown molding. When I want to add some color to this back wall, again, I will click inside of my component, click on the surface, and just go to possibly my colors and choose to select a color to place on this back wall. For the purposes of the video, we're going to go with a nice teal so that it kind of shows up on our screen. Zooming in, we have our cabinetry with crown molding up above. Just click back in here. Just kind of change that color, lighten it up just a little bit. Regardless of you being inside of your model, once you are on the color that is in your model, you can edit it at any time. Just a little bit more friendly. So this is how you would add crown molding. From here, we're going to go ahead and zoom in and begin to create our window that lies above our sink. Now the window and the height and the measurement is solely up to what you are choosing to work with. You can measure any window around your home or in the space if you're drawing something that is a mimic of an already built space. I'm going to measure up 4 inches. And I'm going to take my line, draw right on the surface, and that is my guide. 4 inches is usually a good height for a window to start above the 4-inch backsplash. Sometimes they start a little higher, more like 8 inches or sometimes even 10. Taking my time and using my rectangle, I'm going to go ahead and create my window. And I'm going to simply type in my window height. And I am going to say I have a 4-foot window. It's a nice tall window. From here, I'm going to draw a line. We already have a trim that was created for us on our AutoCAD drawing, but I also want to trim the window out a little more, but I'm going to bring my trim down, which then will make my window 3 feet almost. So I'm going to bring my trim down at least 1 or 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. So typing in 1/2 inch. Once I find that edge, I'm going to bring it over this way. Then I'm also going to repeat 1/2 inch. If it lets me. And draw another guideline. Again, sometimes you have to scroll into that drawing to get in there. Orbiting my drawing around, I can use my push-pull command to now get rid of this window. Sometimes if it doesn't disappear, you can also simply just click on the face of the surface and press delete. Now that my window is gone, I'm going to go ahead and just continue the trim line across. at the top and then also at the bottom onto both sides. And remember, you can delete out the lines that you don't need. So now I have an opening for my window. Now it is up to me if I want to go ahead and leave the face in there and just put a transparent material on, or I can simply go to my 3D warehouse for an even more realistic item that is already created. And choose a nice window for my kitchen. I'm going to choose this casement window, bring it into my drawing. I am going to rotate the drawing. There we go. Making sure that I get it as straight as possible. And in order to get it as straight as possible, sometimes you have to go ahead over to it Now that I'm on the green axis, I know that it is straight. Find a corner and pull it into my drawing and connect it to the corner in which I want it to be placed. And then from there, remember, we're just going to go ahead and scale it into size. Now this window does sit a little bit taller, so if I have to pull it up, I can do so and grab it from the opposite end to place it so that it becomes a lot easier to scale. In some instances, you may find a window such as this that obviously the artists have decided not to allow us to scale this drawing up and down. We only can expand it. When you run across situations where the artist does not let you scale a drawing, that is okay. You can always just delete and go back to your 3D warehouse and select another image. In doing so, I'm going to select this window image and kind of start by scaling it down from the beginning. And then rotating it in the position that it needs to be. At that point, you can grab a corner and drop it where it needs to go. Now remember, as before, that sometimes you need to play around with the image to get it exactly to the scale and the size and gripping the edges. You may find that you are moving your drawing a couple times, or your component, just to get it in a space. So remember that you have to be patient with the program. Once it says endpoint, it lets you know that you have made it to your destination. And then from there, you can go ahead and continue to do any scaling that is needed. And remember, when you're scaling, sometimes you have to use your orbit tool to make sure that you are grabbing the center of your grippers. Once in place, you can scroll out of your drawing, orbit around, click off anywhere into space, and see that you have now added your window. Once your window is in, you can take your push-pull and kind of pull forward your trim, setting your measurement to whatever you would like it to be. I did 2 inches, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 1/2 inch thickness. From here, you are all set. You can finish adding your paint color. And finish any of the backsplash and things that is needed around your kitchen. If you choose to edit your component, you would just click on it a couple times so that it grays out. When you get to the surface in which you want, you can go into your paint tools, choose the glass that you would like to have for your finished material, and simply place it. And of course, edit it as much as you need to. Once everything is complete, you can close out your default tray, orbit around your drawing to see a couple different views from different angles. And call your drawing finished when you are satisfied with your finished product.